Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cavletics, an inside look into the athletics department here at Bossier Parish Community College. I'm your host, Charlie Cavell, and today we are visiting with new BPCC Lady Cavalier basketball coach, Brenda Nichols. Coach, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, on April 18th, Brenda Nichols was named the head women's basketball coach here at BPCC, taking over a program that was started by John Rennie back in 2013. Coach Nichols comes to BPCC from Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas, where she spent 12 seasons coaching the Bearcats. She led Sam Houston to its first Southland Conference championship and earned the first NCAA Division I postseason tournament appearance in the women's basketball invitational tournament. In total, Nichols has 16 seasons of experience and at the NCAA Division I level, and having spent 4 years at Mercer University prior to Sam Houston. And after winning the Southland Conference regular season title in 2013, the Bearcats played in the Women's National Invitational Tournament for the first time in school history, playing a first-round game at Tulane. She sent 27 players that have set school records and earned all Southland Conference honors in 12 times during her coaching tenure. However, Coach, at the end of the 2017-2018 season, the administration at SAM decided to relieve you of your duties, which I know had to be really difficult for you, not only because you were a successful coach, but that's your alma mater. You were a successful player there, and you're in the Bearcat Hall of Honor.
Yes, I am.
So, take us through that, that process, when that news came. I know it had to be tough for you.
Well, basically, we just sat down and we talked about it together, and, it was time. I probably should have left a couple of years before that. Sometimes you overstay your welcome, and, but to me, I don't look at that, that it's a bad thing, because I'm at the best place I ever could be right now, and I'm so excited to be here at BPCC, and I finally know what BPCC means. Forever I didn't know who BPCC was, but God has a way of putting us in the right places at the right time, and I think He puts a little GPS on us the day we're born, and He knows our vision and our destination better than anybody there is, and I just know that I'm at the right place right now. Doing what I'm supposed to do. And I really love JUCO basketball. This is where I started. I was a JUCO player. I played junior college basketball. I started my first coaching career in junior college. I was already a JUCO head coach for 5 years, and I was on the junior college level for 9. So I really have always loved and had a passion to eventually go back junior college, and it put me right where I needed to be.
Well, and that's, kind of led me into a couple of my next questions. Was there ever any trepidation, any doubt that you wanted to continue your career as a coach?
Always, always. This is what I was destined to do, and this is what I'm doing. And, it's not about the wins and the losses. When I go to heaven, God's not going to say you didn't beat so-and-so or you didn't do that. I think it's about what we do to help the young ladies, to help them move forward. When the ball goes flat, what can they do to survive in life? I mean, because life is hard out there, and it's hard for these young ladies. And I stress that they can work at a Walmart or a McDonald's, but they better own it. Get your degrees. When the ball goes flat, what are you going to be doing? Let's talk about life.
You talked about returning to your junior college roots. You played in junior college as a player, coached in junior college, as you mentioned. Was there ever, though, any doubt or concern about taking that perceived maybe step back down to the JUCO ranks? You were at a Division I NCAA level at Sam Houston State, and now you're back kind of where you started, back at the JUCO ranks.
I don't look at this as a step down, because we're in one of the top conferences in the country in Division I junior college basketball. Region 14 is very well known. They're always contending for the national championship. And I don't think this is a step down. I just think I'm in the right direction where I'm supposed to be. And, God let me here, and I'm here to help these young ladies move to the next level. I've been there. I know what it's going to take for them to get to that level. And so maybe this was the destination that I was supposed to be the whole time.
Well, how did you first hear of the opening here at Bossier Parish Community College?
To be honest, I was calling to recommend someone else, and John was calling to visit with me. So it kind of was one of those, no, John, not right now. I'm calling to recommend someone else. And I'm very loyal to people, and, I'm trying to recommend someone. And we just started talking, and he called me every day until I said yes. And then when he didn't call me the next day after I said yes, I called him. So what are you going to do? Quit calling me now? But no, it grew on me. I came down for an interview. I really enjoyed Chancellor Bateman and Rekia and everybody in the room. And, I left not knowing what I was going to do. I have 3 children. One was getting married in June. I have a senior in high school now here, and a 12-year-old little girl who turned 13 today. So happy birthday, Breeley. And so I really didn't know what direction I should do for my family. I'm a very family-oriented person. And so I prayed a lot over it. I came down here many, many weekends and many weeks back and forth.
Let me ask you that. Did you really know anything about BPCC before you had, got into the coaching, into the process, so to speak? Did you know anything whatsoever?
I grew up in Louisiana, in South
Right.
Louisiana. BPCC's not well talked about. And, of course, the women's basketball wasn't there.
Right.
Up until 5 years ago, y'all didn't have women's basketball. So I knew a little bit about the men's side of it. I come from a strong men's side of basketball with McNeese and all that area. So my dad played, my uncles played, everybody played basketball in the state of Louisiana. So I knew a lot about the men's side, but nothing about the women. But I recruited a little bit. I saw them play, but really didn't know what BPCC was, just to be honest.
Well, what drew your interest?
I think just the people. I think coming down, I love the facility. It's a beautiful campus. It just pops. When you take a picture of yourself standing in front of the buildings, it looks like a postcard. Like you just put it all there. And just the people. I love my interview. When I left that interview, I was like, God, these are some great people. And I think the administration is very supportive. And that's the type of program you want to work for. You want to work for a chancellor or president that is going to be behind you 100%. You want those vice chancellors. You want the people to be there supporting you. And I think John did a heck of a job. He was very personable. He didn't come across as lying or being, arrogant or anything. This is a man that started this program, that he was very passionate, that he wanted to handpick this person and put the right person to fill his shoes. And I have big shoes to fill. It's tough working for your boss that was the women's basketball coach that started the program.
You talked about the administration. You talked about the campus and the beauty of this campus. And then you got to see the basketball facilities, the gymnasium. Right. What was your first impressions of the athletic facilities?
I come from very strong junior college area. Texas is very strong in junior college. I coached in the Panhandle of Florida, where basketball is very strong, and our facilities can match with anybody. We have very strong facilities, and that was the seller too. That was the seller, is that you could recruit here. It is a great area. Bossier City is an awesome town, and I just think the more and more I'm here, I'm going to grow on them, and we're going to pull people in. You got to come out and see us.
You've grown on us.
I know. See, it's just one of those things.
Well, besides being a basketball coach, you mentioned you are a single mom and of 3 children, Brady, Brock, and Breeley, who you mentioned. Happy birthday to Breeley today. Yeah. I know their happiness and well-being had to play a huge role in your decision, particularly a place in Huntsville, Texas, where they've called home for the majority of their lives. It had to be a difficult decision for you.
Early in my career, I moved a lot, and Brady was used to moving, constantly, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. So he was used to it. Brock and Breeley were there for 12 years, so that through their whole career. And so this was a big decision for them. So we literally sat down, and normally I make the decision, and it's nothing to do with them. But when you're moving a senior in high school, and a boy who has played football, played baseball, played basketball, and in a community with his friends his whole life, and it was a tough decision. So we loaded them up and we came down and we visited Benton. We met Coach Martinez and Coach Moore, and I mean, they were just great people at Benton High School. And one of the decisions Brock really was, the request was, can I go to a small school? And that's kind of the reason we didn't live in Bossier, is because we came from a small area. He went to a 3A high school, and so he didn't know anything bigger. Airline kind of scared him just a little bit when we drove by it. And, you know, it is scary when you come from small towns,
right.
You know. Breeley, she was okay with anything. Like, I mean, if it's Benton or wherever, she's fine. But I wanted to make sure he was comfortable. And, you know, my kids came down in the summer. They worked summer camp. They've been down here, and they love it. I mean, I tell them after school every day, y'all gonna go home? And they're like, no, we're coming up to the gym. And they hang out with the basketball players or the baseball players, or they just love BPCC. I mean, and, you know, Brock has mentioned he might want to come here. So, you know.
When did you decide, not just as Coach Brendan Nichols, but as your family, when did you decide that BPCC was the place that you wanted to be? When was that decision made? Shortly after the interviews, and we came up here a lot, and we just made the decision as this was going to be a great new start for us. It's a new adventure, and everything in our life is an adventure anyway. They think I'm crazy anyway. My kids, you know, if they say where we're going, we're going crazy. So, you know, so it's a new adventure for us, and it's been an adventure. Well, one of the things you and I share in common is that we're both South Louisiana natives.
Yes.
You're a native of Jennings. Did that, and you still maintain a lot of contacts
Yes.
in the state of Louisiana, and you mentioned your father and your uncles playing at McNeese, and did that also factor into your deciding, you know, Bossier Parish is the place I want to be?
One of the things that I've always wanted is to eventually come home. Now, I never wanted to go eventually back to Jennings, Louisiana, because they say never go back to where you played and grew up. But I've always kind of wanted to eventually in my career come back to Jennings and coach. I've coached in Alabama, I've coached in Tennessee, Texas. I mean, all bordering it, you know, somewhere and somehow. But so I'm kind of excited. But, you know, when you grow up in South Louisiana, you know, North Louisiana kind of was like always like, oh, you can't go up there. But I have an aunt and an uncle that live here, and I have a couple of them that live here, and they just love it. And, you know, my kids are growing to love it.
I said that same thing, about 20 plus years ago now, and, you know, I'm still here. You brought in Morgan Day, who played for you and coached for you at Sam Houston. Did you know right away that you were going to bring Morgan in to be your top assistant? Yes.
Morgan was a player that came in. I recruited her to Sam. She played for me for 4 years. She was point guard or combo guard. When she finished her 4-year career, she worked as a graduate assistant for me the next year. Morgan's always wanted to be a coach. And, you know, from the first day she came on board, she would come to my office. We would talk basketball. She was in my basketball class. I still taught school just because I wanted to stay intact with the kinesiology department and the students. And, you know, she just loves the game. And you're going to come in your career, you're going to have a lot of players that are going to do that, and you attach to it. And, you know, I just gave her the opportunity, and it's been great. You know, I really have been impressed. She has really learned a lot. And I always asked her the other day, because she was kind of upset with the players, and I said, man, you know, I used to be the same way to you. You know, I said everything that you're mad about them, I used to be mad about you and your teammates. And so she's learning a lot that, you know, it all carries over, and it's fun.
We're going to take a brief time out right now, but stay tuned, because following the break, we'll have more with BPCC Lady Cavaliers basketball coach Brenda Nichols and her upcoming season. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
In 1977, in Johannesburg, South Africa, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. By the age of 9, he was already outplaying him. The odds of this gentle lad winning the Junior World Golf Championships at the age of 14, 1 in 16 million. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours, 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the Open Championship once and the US Open Championship twice, 1 in 780 million. The odds of this professional golfer having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 110. Ernie Els encourages you to learn the signs of autism at autismspeaks.org. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference.
Hi, I'm Rusty Wallace. In racing, the driver is only as good as the team they've got behind them. The same principle holds true in business. A successful company invests in employees that are highly skilled and display good character. Our returning servicemen and women fit that bill. They've shown that they've got the qualities that make them real assets to any company that hires them. In the military, their education may include training in technology, communications, and logistics. But more importantly are the values that they embrace, like courage, integrity, and leadership, the same values that can make a business successful. So if you're an employer, on behalf of the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes, I want to urge you to hire smart and bet on a vet. It's also a great way to thank them for the service they provided on our behalf. To learn more, call the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes at 1-888-44-SALUTE or visit saluteheroes.org on the web. Thank you.
Welcome back to Cavletics. I'm Charlie Cavell and visiting with BPCC women's basketball coach Brenda Nichols. And before the break, we were talking about the whole hiring process and how Coach Nichols came here to BPCC. We're now going to shift into high gear and speed forward and talk about the Lady Cavaliers and what we can expect from Coach Nichols and her Lady Cavs this season. Well, you returned 5 players, but only 1 starter from last year's ball club, and that is point guard Mo Bolden, who is from Erath, Louisiana. Tell us about what Mo brings and the other young ladies that return to your ball club.
Mo's a Southern Louisiana girl, so we relate very well, and she called me out on that really quick. You know, Mo brings a lot to the table. I know she ran a lot of point guard last year. We're kind of moving her over to the combo guard. I really believe that Mo can put up more shots and get to the basket quicker if she didn't have to always focus on bringing the ball down. Sometimes when you're always focusing on bringing the ball, you get too panicky and you forget what your role is. And I think she's kind of calmed down and she's laid down a little bit more. And she's, you know, we had a scrimmage this past weekend and I think she had 33 points in 3 games, and that's pretty good, you know. And so just imagine what she can maybe do in a game. But I think just taking, you know, she is going to get to run some point, but I'm not going to make that her main role. I think if she steps up and becomes a leader this year, big things are going to happen for this young lady. She has a lot of talent. She just brings it to the table. She is a gym rat. She loves to be in the gym. She loves basketball, and that's something any coach is just going to just adore about her.
Yeah, she was up here during the summer and always asking me to come turn the gym lights on or bring her home, or, you know, what she could do to, you know, get some more time and more shots.
Well, I tell you a story about Mo is from here to the apartments is exactly 2 miles. And they had to run a 2 mile under 16 minutes for me when we got back. So she told me, she said, Coach, it's 2 miles straight from the apartment here. I said, how do you know that? She goes, well, I ran it a lot this summer when I didn't have a ride. So she literally will do anything to get in the gym.
Well, let's talk about some of your newcomers. You've brought in 12 new players, and, you know, who out of that group of 12, out of that dozen, do you think will have the greatest impact this year?
Well, I think not to jump to that real quick, but to talk about some of your other sophomores. Okay. I think they're stepping along and they're doing very well. I think Waiori, she's done a really good job of coming on board. She's our New Zealand wing player. She can really stroke it and hit it. Alex Williams, you know, a local kid from Shreveport.
Played at Loyola.
Played at Loyola, has done really well. She could play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not lying, and she's about like that little. Yeah. You know, but, you know, dynamite comes in big packages and small packages, and she's that small package. She could shoot the 3, and she could do a post move better than some post players, big girls. Deanna Perry, talk about an improvement. This is something that we've been working on. Deanna Perry, when I came on board, I didn't think she was the strong post player, you know, and I told her, you know, you could be a great mid-major Division I, you know, power forward. but you need to do this, and that girl worked hard. I mean, she's got a great looking body. She, about 5'11", she can power up to the basket, and I think we're going to see a lot out of her.
And don't forget about the saline sensation now, Kat Reeves.
Oh, I know, man. You talk about some defensive flash. She hit a 3 yesterday, and I told her she has a yellow light on that. But, Kat brings that defensive she's a gnat at a campfire.
Right.
I mean, you hate those gnats at campfires, and that is Kat right there.
Yes.
So I think our sophomores are really going to lead us more than what everybody thinks, because they didn't get a lot of playing time last year, but they're moving right along in that direction. And then you talk about the newcomers, wow, we got Shay Richardson out of Willis, Texas. Her coach and I were really good friends when I was coaching at Sam Houston. Her coach played Division I basketball. She was a big post player. This kid is a natural. She, I swear, has a beeper on the ball, and if it's a rebound, she's going for it. She will out-rebound your own teammates. Like, she is hungry for a rebound. You don't see that in players today. You don't see natural-born rebounders anymore. We're constantly begging people to rebound. This kid is a natural, and she finishes well. She's this tremendous athlete. And then we got some bigs coming in with Ty Scott from Neville, and then she brings the guard with her in Shania Medenweather. And Shania is probably going to run a lot of point for us. Tata is a big girl. I mean, she is going to be the presence inside. She can make beautiful post moves. And I look for a lot. Then you got Alex Pollard, another kid out of Texas, Cy Fair. We picked her up a little later in the game. And, she just brings, she is as silly as could be. And I'm telling you, these kids make me laugh. I'm trying to be serious, and I just bust out laughing because they're constantly doing something crazy. I swear I'm coaching. I have 17 kids, and I have 16 freshmen. I really believe that sometimes. But Alex Pollard is really going to bring a lot to the table in height, as being a big. And then, we got Kerrigan Smalls, comes out of Leesville. Another Southern Louisiana girl. We have, I think, 5 players that have parents that are coaches.
Wow.
On the back, yeah. So I have a lot of basketball IQ and a lot of coaches' kids. And Kerrigan Small, I promise you, she can thread a needle better than any guard I've seen in a long time. She can get you and she's very you look at her and you think she can't play.
Well, last Saturday, your ball club participated in the Dave Neely Frisco Showcase in Frisco, Texas. We're going to take a look at some highlights with the time we have remaining from that showcase. And if you would, Coach, tell us what we're seeing and what we're viewing in these clips.
Okay. That's going to be a jump ball. Just want to let you know.
Well, and right here, I believe it's the first clip we'll have is of Alexandria Pollard, as you mentioned,
right.
Strong to the hoop after with this jump shot.
Yes, and that's something we've been working on, and all of our post players need to be able to score from the elbow, the short corner, and the block, and that's something we work on every day. We call it our Mardi Gras series. We kind of named everything after Louisiana things.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that.
And, back on getting back on defense, and then right here, I believe we're going to see Mo Bolden, not playing the point, playing the 2.
Yes.
And she, gets good penetration, pulls up for the jumper at the free throw line,
right.
and draws the foul.
And that's something that she's going to have to do a lot for us, and she's very good at that. And I think when you take her out of the point guard, you get that coming from the wing, which gives her a better option to be able to play. And she's making her foul shots.
Well,
too.
And that's a good thing. She knocks down the free throw. And this one, we're going to see Mo and Lauren Walker on the steal, and then Mo knocks down the three-pointer right
talk
there.
About Lauren Walker. You talk about her. You talk about Kat, Lauren Walker, and Casual. Oh, my God. We have 3 defensive gnats on our team that they will eat your lunch, and they'll steal your lunch money for the next week.
Well, and that's just, when you get a player, like you said, that is that gnat, there's the steal, and then, the drive, the kick out.
I'm just glad we made the layup.
Yep, nothing wrong there. And on this one, we're going to see Kerrigan Small.
Right there.
Right here. And, she gets the three-point play. She drives to the bucket, draws the foul, gets it, and one. And we'll go to the line to try to complete the three-point play. Is she going to be, more the point to allow Mo to play more of the two?
Well, there's a few people, her and Shania, and so there's about 3 of them that are going to be mixing it up in there. And right now we're trying to work on who plays well together, because each kid brings something different to the table.
And then after the rebound, we see the rebound, the long outlet pass, and Alexandria Pollard.
Yes.
Pass
was made by Angel Dorby, and that kid comes from New Orleans area, and she's a really good shooter. She came in really late, so we got to get her shooting the ball a little bit more.
There's the rebound, the rebounding that you're talking about, and then on the last clip, we're going to see LaDasia Williams.
Now that kid is probably the most improved post player I've ever coached. She comes in, she gets the extra work, she goes up hard, and she finishes, and she does a very good job.
And so we'll after this, there's LaDasia putting it back and up and in, and Coach, we're running kind of low on time, but you tip off the regular season on November 1st against Baton Rouge Community College down in Baton Rouge. The home opener for the Lady Cavs is November 5th against LSU-A, their junior varsity, I should say. What are your realistic expectations for the Lady Cavs?
Well, I think right now we're undefeated. So, we're pretty good right now. So I hope that we can continue to do this. I really want to see our players go out and play as a team. That is the biggest thing, that we go out and we put it all together and we do the good things. Win or lose, we take away whatever we need to do and work hard on it.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Unfortunately, we could talk basketball with Coach for a long time. I hope you've enjoyed our visit with BPCC women's basketball coach Brenda Nichols. Coach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And join us again next Friday as we bring you the latest on Bossier Parish Community College Cavalier Athletics. I'm Charlie Cavell bidding you